Discord chat, correct? Okay, and then let's try over here. How about now? You hear me now? Okay, sounds good. So anywhere in the room, students can hear me. Great. All right, I got to be near the keyboard because I have to type. So let's get started. Nice to see students showing up. In my Monday, Wednesday, 1060, 15 students signed up for in-person, and then it started raining, and then 4 showed up. So rain keeps away almost everybody. So that's fine. Anyways, the student parking lot is almost completely empty. The faculty parking lot is almost completely empty, so it looks like, what's that? It's a plus, yeah, it's fine. So I'm okay with this. I mean, I was told that we were coming back in person, but unless you had a medical exemption. So I guess almost every faculty member asked for a medical exemption. So that's the only explanation, but that's fine. That's okay. So anyways, here we are, and we're going to have a really good class. So let's go look at the syllabus here. We see we're on 928. Okay, so we're going to open up the exam. I'll show you the exam. And I actually made it just one question, which is writing classes and objects. So I think I tried to make it easier on you. Hopefully this practice you did will be applicable for later. It's not like it's a waste of time if you practice coding that, because coding that is very useful. It's a really, really good website. So when I look at the end of a semester and a student has done almost everything on coding that, that's a sign that they've been really focused and, well, they just really, really care, you know? So you can see string 1 problems, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 by 3, we have 33 string 1 problems, okay? And yeah, substrings are very important. Strings in general, strings are important for data. You know, if you're working with a hospital, if you're working with a school, whatever you're working with, you're going to be using strings. It's very common. So to get good at some of these methods, it's just a really important skill. Oh, tons of built-in functions. Yeah, I mean, I think one thing that C++ does have is they have some libraries that we didn't really touch in the first class. So, you know, they have like the Boost C++ library, and that's, if we look here, we can see the Boost string algorithms library, and we can see generic implementation of string-related algorithms missing in STL. It is an extension to the algorithms library of STL. It includes trimming, case conversion, predicates, find replace functions. So like there are things that maybe weren't covered in your first class that might make life easier. So there's a lot for C++ that you probably just haven't been exposed to. But I mean, I like Java a lot, so I think Java is a great language. And you know, and any language you can get the job done. Python too has a lot of cool tools with strings. Slicing is pretty cool with Python. Anyways, you have a lot to choose from here in coding that, right? So 33 problems in string 1. Let's just quiz Jose. So Jose, how many have you finished in string 1? Like half, that's great. That's great. So just keep it off and you'll be doing excellent. No, it's not. They're not super difficult. As long as you set aside some time, you work on them. Well, that's really good to do half of them in 30 minutes. That's great. Okay. So just a reminder, CodingBet, wonderful website, very, very useful. All right. So today, I'll show you your exam on Memer. We're going to do some array examples during class. And, the time will go pretty quickly because we have a lot of important stuff to cover. So why don't we start with some array examples. Let's go to Replit, sign in. And I believe I sign up with my GitHub account. All right, so let me just check my mail. Okay. Great. All right, so here we are. Everybody log into your REPL. And we're going to go ahead and work inside of a Java REPL. And we'll work with array example. Okay, while people are logging into their REPLs, I'll say that I graded your code reviews, and there were lots of good solutions. I guess I made a few comments to people where, it seemed like they were picking really easy level 8 problems, and I think they're probably getting stronger than what the problems would challenge them with. So just try to take it upon yourself to pick more challenging problems. The level 6 problems can time out. That's one of the issues. I was working on a level 6 problem today where I got the logic down, but it just wasn't efficient enough. Efficiency matters with the more advanced problems. And so it's kind of humbling. You have to say, okay, the designer of this problem thinks my solution is just too slow, not efficient, have to try something different. Okay? So that sort of humbling feeling is just something you got to deal with software. There's no way around it. Okay, so let's start with a simple array example. So we'll just type out int nums equals new int. We'll just say 10. And then we'll just go ahead and type some numbers in. So we'll say nums position 0 equals 5. Nums at 1 equals 7. Spell nums right. Nums at 2 equals 11. I guess I'm just putting odd numbers. And then nums at 3 equals 13. Okay. Now, if we were to loop through these numbers and try to sum them, let's see the different ways we could do that. So we could say for int I within nums, for each number, we're going to keep it inside the sum. So we're going to say sum plus equals I. And then we're going to print out sum. And we see 36. So 5 plus 7 gets us to 12. 12 plus 11 gets us to, hold on, wait. This is 12 plus 11, 23. 23 plus 13 equals 36. So this is correct. Of course, right? No big surprises there. But what if we wanted to get some input from the user? What if we wanted to get some input from the user? Let's talk about, either in class or through the chat, what do we need to use to get input from the user? Let's see. So somebody says Sackner. There we go, scanner. So we go back here and we type out scanner, scanner, equals new scanner, system.in, and let me try to put both of these at the same time. Let's see, is that going to make things, yeah, that's not going to be good. I wish this room had 2 monitors. That would be, maybe I'll bring my laptop next time, we'll see. All right, so we got to import it. So we got to go to the top and we say import java.util.scanner. Import java.util.scanner. And now we have to prompt the user. So we say system.out.println, enter a number. And then with the scanner, we put it into nums at position 4. So we say equals scanner.next int. Because that's what we have an array of. We have an array of ints. Now, what I'd like you to do is ask the user for these numbers, right? So you need to ask for 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, but use a loop. Okay, use a loop. So let's share in the Discord at 6:25. Okay, and if you finish early, you can message me. If you finish early, message me. Okay? Everybody understand what we're doing? We're asking the user for some input for numbers. So you put it inside a loop. I'll post this link into the scanner, into the chat. So if you want to look at it, you can do that. There you go. Anybody in here finish? Okay, so let's see. Student finished it. So let's give a little bit more time, then we can talk about the answer. So there's 9 or 10 more seats in here. So for those of you who aren't in class, it's a pretty decent sized room. Wouldn't you say it's a pretty good sized room? So they're not like packing us in. So we certainly have room for more students who have signed up. And you're more than welcome to show up here. I think of all the classes, programming is pretty good to do remote because you get to experience the real focus on the code. But there's something good about showing up in person too. Yeah, you'll have a seat, don't worry. I mean, basically today has been a lot of students saying they're showing up, and then when the rain comes, they don't show up. So it's nice to see that this class has people who showed up. So right now we have 2, 4, 6 people, but room for more when you guys are ready to come back. Anyways, it's nice that you're online too. That's fine. So it's 6:25. So let's see. We got some people who have sent me some links. So let's go ahead and share some of these links here. Jose posted one. Here's another one that we see. So this says for I equals 0, while I is greater than 5 and I is less than 10, I plus plus. So let's see. Okay, so let's see. Let's try to figure out what some of these errors are. Let's try to debug it as a group. So the first thing I see is we've got int nums for the name of the array, and then here we're using num. So we got to go ahead and change it to nums. Okay, looks good. And then we try to run it again. Okay, so let's enter a number. We'll say 2. Okay, so looks like I only got to enter one number. So what else can we say about this? Change I in the for loops, perhaps. Also start I at 5. Okay. So we say I equals 5. And what should I change here? And in person, you're available to say things too. Okay, so say I is less than 10. Sounds good. Let's try that out. Okay, same thing was in the chat. So we can say 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. Okay. So we entered in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We entered in 10. So this is 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. And I think before we were at 36. So 36 plus 12 gets us to 48. Right? So this looks good. So those little things, those little changes can mean so much for your program. So it's really important that you get the mindset, everything has to be exactly right. If you start falling into the mindset, well, who cares what I is, who cares whether it's num or nums, then it's really going to be a difficult period with programming. You've got to be very detail oriented. So it's not bad to post something that's not perfect because we're all learning, but just as time goes on, really make that your mantra as you do your practicing. You have to be very detail oriented. So when people turned in their memer work, there were lines that didn't end with semicolons. People would use one name for scanner and then another name. Yeah, it's a common thing, right? To say num instead of nums. Like maybe that's a bad name. You don't like the name nums. But if somebody starts with nums, you just have to continue with nums. So what are some other things to point out? So when people did their memer work, there would be one name for a scanner here, and then below it they would use like a totally different name. So it would be like they write scanner, scanner, and then below they put just S, right? And those there is no S, right? S doesn't exist. Now, talking about the memer homework, I did go through and look over everything you did, one by one. So I looked over all the submissions. I didn't like the questions where they forced you to do it in a particular line. So I just went ahead and I just marked those correct for students who got it wrong because of like line 7 or line 8 or something like that. That I found pretty annoying. So the current memer work is not like that. All right. So let's go ahead and copy and paste this into Discord. And any thoughts about this? Yeah, you could use array.length instead of hard coding 10, instead of 10. That's a good suggestion. For question 5 on my Memer code, my code did not compile. Why didn't it compile? So why don't you paste it here? So as soon as you paste it, that'll work. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at the new Memer. So we go here, and we see we have, oh, that was fast. Okay, so let's put in a word. Hello. Oh, yeah, you misspelled length. That's why it's wrong. So, wow. All right, sounds good. Okay, so let's take a look at our Memer work. So we first have Unit 3 practice. Wow, Jose, you're already almost finished? 70 out of 160? It's amazing. All right, so we go here, preview. Say preview assignment. And, oh, I already did it. So if I go through it, you'll see all the answers. So I'll just show you the answer to the first one because it's so easy. So you get a sneak peek, all right? So, yeah, one-liner. So it's nice if you can do it with less code, but you don't want to make it like your obsession, right? Like sometimes it can be nice, but it depends on the problem. I do want to go through them always before I assign them because, you know, Memer, they had that line number shenanigans last time, and nobody has time to worry about what line number. It's not like it's hard to move the line number, right? Like I even put in Discord, just go ahead and change the line number. So a lot of people got perfect scores, but it's still, it's kind of silly. It's not really super important. But this assignment is really, really good. Question 6 is going to force you to think a lot. Question 6 will, yes, yeah, that's true. There is benefit to it. There is benefit to it. I mean, like the people who write Memer and HackerRank, they know what they're talking about. So that's why I also like to defer to them and just assign things as they are. But, you know, like I do really respect Memer and HackerRank. They're really good sites. So I think if you're good at HackerRank, you're gonna get job offers. There's no question about it. Big companies use HackerRank for hiring. So I know we've done Code Wars. Have we done HackerRank problems yet? We haven't yet. So we will get to it. We will get to it. Okay. So question 6. Let's talk about question 6. It's going to force you to write a vending machine program. Question 6 is about a vending machine. Question 6 is a vending machine program. And there was one test case. That really, and I'll use a word like that wasn't super serious, but it irked me, right? Like one test case really bothered me. So I think that you'll probably enjoy it. What did I just get that from? Oh, 10.6. Yeah, it'll really make you think. Of course, some of you will probably do it really soon, really quick, but it will take you some time. So it will take you some time to do these. It's not super quick to do it, but yeah, there you go. Okay, so that's that. And we'll look at the exam in a minute. That's just your homework. Okay, so let's go and do another array example. And this one we can do with coding bath. Let's go to Java and then array 1. And let's try mid 3. Each. Mute server for 1 hour. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at this. Given an array of ints of odd length, return a new array of length 3 containing the elements from the middle of the array. Okay? So if we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, we need the mid 3, so we get 2, 3, and 4. So we make 2, 3, and 4. So this gives us good practice reading an array. It gives us good practice creating an array. And it gives us good practice returning from a function method. So let's see. Why don't we spend 10 minutes doing this? So 6:47, we will share our answers. Okay, if you finish early, message me. Okay, so let's try to do this. Okay, so let's see. Why don't hear from we hear from a student here in person? So let's go to this solution. And let's see, Leanne, would you mind explaining what you did here? Great, great. Well, that was very, very clear. Now, I want to go back to the explanation from the video that we had on, it was over the weekend. It was, there it is, an interview with the creator of Java. Okay, so just out of curiosity, did anyone see this? Okay, so I guess the microphone doesn't reach to the back of the room, but you'll hear me talk, so that's fine. So did anyone watch this video? Okay, well, it's okay if you didn't. It wasn't a grade, but just curious if anybody saw it. Yeah. So yeah, it's not a big deal. Leanne explained it. We'll go back to the code in a minute. I just wanted to switch gears a little bit. So James Gosling. One of the interesting things I want you to listen for, if you have time to watch this, is how he thinks about solutions. So he's a completely visual thinker. He says he does not think in words. He doesn't think in words. So his code is very tight, and some of the other programmers would complain about his solutions, which I think is really interesting that he was the creator of Java, because Java is so wordy. But you know, it's a great video. I mean, he's obviously super brilliant man, and just a really, really interesting. Well, I think he's a great interviewer, Lex Friedman. So you might really appreciate it and get a lot out of it. So might want to check that out. Well, he said he thinks in terms of yeah, exactly, diagrams, images. He said like gears. He said gears will be turning, and like this part of the code is turning this part of the code. So he's just thinking of functional solutions. I mean, it sounds pretty impressive. Like that's not how I solve things, right? So I mean, it's not like I have to talk out every solution. Sometimes I'll get things that are nonverbal, but I think I am more on the verbal side of things than he is. But it's a cool video. You might really like it. So might want to check it out. Okay, super. Jose's typing something. Okay, so you see programming problems like you see math problems. Okay, that's great. All right. So, this is a pretty straightforward solution. I don't know if it needs much explaining. I don't think, let's see, I don't think there's really much I can add to it. I think it's pretty self-explanatory if you just read through it. Let's go ahead and post this in here. Okay, does anyone have a partial solution to share? Right, where you're incorrect and you'd like to fix it? That's okay if no one does. Oh, someone's typing. Okay, middle length divided by 2 plus 1. So let's see what happens when we run this. So what should we do? Take a look at this. See if you can figure out what's wrong. Why are you doing middle is plus 1? Okay, so let's try this. No, that's not right. Okay, just do divided by 2. Okay, now we're on to something. Okay, and then he says, so this is num length divided by 2. And let's see what's going on here. So we're getting 1, 2, 3. Middle equals nums.length divided by 2. Before. Oh, look here. Look here. You have to say new array. Look here. New array. No, nums. Sorry. Nums. Oh, could somebody move? Thank you. And then we got here middle. And then we've got nums. And then we've got after. Let's try this. Yeah, there we go. So that's the solution. See, because we needed to use the nums. Nums array holds the values. And, it's kind of funny that, here we see inside of the coding that variable called nums. And maybe just from years of doing coding that's where I picked up the affectation, right? Because I think we started with the REPL example with me using nums. No big deal. No big deal. All right, so I think that was a good lesson, a good example. And we got in the discussion about Gosling. We did some coding examples coming up on 7 o'clock. So why don't we take a look at the exam? Let's look at the exam. So we go here to Memer. And, wow, a lot of people have now started practice. Good. So we go here to test 1, and we see sandbox. This says, you are going to create a console-based program to keep track of a small business that sells doodads. First, you will need to create a class doodad that keeps track of 2 integers and 2 strings. Next, create a constructor for the doodad. Okay, so this is a recipe. You go in this order. Next, add getters and setters for each of the fields, 2 integers and 2 strings. Inside your main method, ask the user to read in the 2 integers and 2 strings. Create a doodad object and add it to an array of 100 doodad objects. Allow the user to keep entering in doodad objects until the user wishes to quit. Once the user is done entering doodad objects, show the information about the doodads they entered. You will show the first number, followed by a space, followed by the first word. You need to use doodad.java. See the starter code. So first of all, let's look at the starter code. So we click on Open in Memer IDE. And then we go over here to, we are in, where is it? COP fall, is this it? No, where, 2800. Oh, fall COP 2800, okay. Fall COP.
Test 1 is right there on the first project.
Oh yeah, there it is. Okay. But nothing's in there. Where is this? Okay, so something got messed up. Let me fix that. So there's nothing under starter code? I upload, okay, so I must not have saved after I uploaded. No big deal. So let's go to public class doodad. Make sure I get all the spelling right. Public class doodad. Okay, and then inside here you're going to have two fields, two int fields. Yes. Either way is fine. Any IDE you like is really fine. The question was, do they have to work in REPL? And no, you can work in REPL, you can work in Memer, you can work in really pretty much anything. Then we have getters, then we have setters. Actually, it's kind of good that my starter file was deleted, because now I can sort of talk you through it a little more. So it's really not a big deal. And then we go here to public static void main string array args. And we'll just put this back because it doesn't need to be indented like that. And we'll say in here, you get the input from the user, make the objects, and add them to the array, right? And that looks pretty good. So let's go ahead and save this. And we'll save it to documents. We'll call it doodads or doodad.java. Okay, so now we go here to upload. Yes. Go to documents, doodad.java, save. Okay, now we see the starter code. So now, if you're here inside the assignment and you click on Open in Memer IDE, and then we go to Fall COP 2800, test 1, doodad.java. Perfect. Okay, so what you have to do is you have to write out the code. When the code is finished, you say javac doodad.java, and java doodad. Okay, this doesn't do anything. And then when you're done with that, you just go over here to submit. You click on the most recent thing, test 1. You're submitting doodad.java. You say view submission. And what happened? I got 0 on everything. Because I didn't do anything, right? I don't ask for enter number 1, enter number 2, enter word, none of that. Okay? So it needs to look like this. It needs to look like this. And you get 5 attempts, right? So if something's wrong, like let's say you get a space wrong, and you get everything wrong. No big deal. You just add the space, and then you get a perfect score. Once you get a perfect score, it takes the highest score on Memer. So what sort of questions do you have? I mean, yeah, I guess you can. Yeah, it's just one. I mean, you can just submit nothing, right? Like, just submit nothing. Submit an empty file. But yeah, just one array. And I'll never enter more than 100, so you don't have to worry about it. But there is a submission limit of 5. No, but you're making objects. Jose, you have to make an object. How do you submit it with Replit? Okay, let me show you how to submit it with Replit. But let me deal with Jose's comment first. You are making doodad objects. So it's going to be doodad D equals new doodad. 1, 2, space it out, 2, A, B. Like that. No, this one isn't random. Not random. But I mean, I do look over the code. So if somebody just wrote if they just hard coded all the test cases, yes. Hard coding the test cases wouldn't work. It would just be really ugly, and that wouldn't be good. So yes, the array stores the object. It's a doodad. It's a doodad. That's what you get at the beginning. So what I like about picking that ridiculous name is if you search for doodad Java, you actually find other instructors who have actually made like big projects out of this crazy name, doodad. So this one has get injured, set name, blah, blah, blah. So, if somebody was to just go here and copy class doodad, I mean, like that's getting so desperate. Like somebody, they just see doodad.java and they just copy this and then, submit it into Memer. So, but I mean, people are here laughing, but people do get that desperate, right? They'll just go here, copy this, Java C, and it probably compiles. It's from a 4-year university. So it would be sad if it didn't. Yeah, Java doodad. And anyway. Okay, so you get the idea. You have to write your own class doodad, but it's not that hard. I mean, like you can see here, you're getting halfway there. Like you have a string, you're going to have another string, you're going to have 2 ints, you're going to have setters, you're going to have getters. So it's just a matter of looking at this, doing it on your own. Hopefully, you should get a good score on this, right? You should get a good score. I mean, you store an array just like you store anything. Like if we go into make an array of strings, let's make an array of strings. So let's do that. So let's all go to Replit, and we'll say new array of strings. So we start with the data type. So we say string, and then we do the brackets. R equals new string 10. Okay, so how is this won't be any different from doodads or mains. We could say main m equals new main. And we say m at position 0 equals new main. M at position 1 equals new main. R at position 0 equals hello. Right? So this is an array of objects. Let me just post this in here. Those are arrays of objects. Instead of arrays of primitives. Let's see. Will it take points off if we have checks for incorrect input and it says like incorrect input? I'm not quite sure what that means. Could you rephrase it? Well, there's nothing with line numbers, right? So nothing about line numbers. No, actually everything is assumed to be valid input. Everything is valid input. So there's no defensive programming. I mean, it's actually, no. You can add more. Like, it's really not a super long test. I think there will be a lot of good grades with it, but you do have 5 attempts to get it perfect. You made an array of type M called, made an array of type main called M, which stores main objects. Yes. Trippy. Okay. Well, I mean, a main is just something we haven't really defined, right? It's just like an abstract concept. Miami-Dade has really gotten good about turning lights off. The lights keep going off in here. So, all right, so let's see. Your array is type doodad, yes. So you can have a string array, you can have a doodad array. So those are objects. I mean, the array is an object, but you can have an array of primitives too, like int. Array of primitives. The class is called doodad, and that is the data type. That is the data type. So that's a good question. That's not a bad question. It's this is an important point to learn the lingo. Yeah, exactly. Just like a struct from C. No. This is simple. You're just storing the numbers and strings inside of a doodad object. Right? So let's just go back and look at all of the earlier code. So let's go here to my REPL. And let's go to my REPLs, and we see Java REPLs. And let's see. Not what I want. Okay, let's look at car. Oh, that's not very good. Okay, let's find one that we actually did. How about tree? There we go. Here's tree. Okay. I think you suggested that one, right, Jose? Yeah. Okay, so let's go ahead and turn this into an array of trees. So we have one tree called a spruce. Oh yeah, actually remember when we looked this up. So now we can say tree array trees equals new tree. Say we have 10 trees. Trees at position 0 equals spruce. trees at position 1 equals new tree, and this is going to be oak, green, special leaf, I don't know, and then age in years, it's 20 years. Okay, so you see, we can have an array of trees. Okay, so what sort of questions or comments do you have about this? Well, if you just print it without any getters, it's just going to give you a hash code, right? Like if I say system.out.println trees position 1, it's just going to give us a hash code. So we see it's tree at blah blah blah, right? So you have to go specifically trees dot species plus trees dot age years. Now it will work, right? Does anybody remember, maybe from the readings, or maybe I mentioned it in class, how can we print out all the info without using the different getters? Anybody know? Online or in person? So how can we print out all the info? Yes, very good. That gets a thumbs up. It's a two-string. Thumbs up. Let's do a two-string. It's good practice. So we go here and we say public string, two-string, return, we'll put species plus species. We'll use the this just to be like super precise. Okay, species plus this, and we'll put color. This dot color plus leaf shape plus this dot leaf shape. We don't have to put age and years. Just leave it like that. And now this time when we print it, we're just going to print out system.out.println trees 1. We're not printing out any .species or anything like that. So we run it, and there we go. We see species oak, color green, leaf shape special. Now maybe you don't like this formatting. You can put in colons. You can make this capital, put in colon, make this capital, this capital. No, I think it should look a little better. But, you know, whether it looks good or not, that's really just determination on your own, right? If you like it or not. Post this here. And we'll just go back here and just let it linger for a minute and see if anybody can think of any other questions. Yes? Because we entered in special as the third item. See, oak, green special. So that's the leaf shape. Is there a toInt? There's a parseInt, and then there is a, you can go from the int to a string, and from you can go from an int to a string and from a string to an int. So yeah, you can do that. Well, it must have been not a number if you did parseInt with an exception. Yeah, that's the syntax, integer.parseInt with blah. Yeah, but it shouldn't give you an exception. It should work. I mean, after this, I'm totally fine moving on to integer.parseInt. That's definitely a valuable Java tool. I mean, we could do it right here. String number equals 18. We'll use a square number, 36. And we'll say system.out.println math.square root. We'll say integer.parseInt. Actually, we could use another one, double.parseDouble, and we put in here number and try it out. Okay, the square root of 36 is 6, right? And if we wanted to pass that back to an int, we just put the int up here, and now it's 6. So that's how it would look. So I think, like in terms of how simple these things are, it's all a matter of opinion, how much time you've spent doing them. I mean, programming can be challenging. Like I'm still thinking about that Code Wars that's timing out for me, right? Like haven't we pulled up Code Wars problems where it's not immediate what you jump in to solve? Like, problem solving takes a bit of time. It takes thought, it takes effort, and you know, it's just, you have to put in the time. Okay, we can do that. That's a good suggestion. So let's say that we want to set the tree color. Like maybe it's changing for fall. So we can say in here, public void set color, and we could send it a color, something like string new color, and we just say color equals new color. All right, so let's say for our oak, this is our setter. All right, I'll copy and paste the setter into the chat. That's the setter. And now we want to change our oak inside one to have a brown leaf, brown color. So we say trees one dot set color, and we'll send in brown. Then when we print it, we should see that the color is brown. Very good. So this setter on line 33 will change this oak that we make here. So you see how that works? In the first line, we set the color to be green, and then few lines down, we change the color to be brown, and so the output, when this runs, looks like this. Okay, that's the output. Does that make sense? Okay, looks good. So I don't see any more questions or comments. Oh, someone is typing. So on the test, you could either use the constructor or the setters. No, okay, so let me just write out for Jose first. You can use the constructor on the test. I mean, or you can use setters. I mean, probably we've had the most practice with constructors, but it's more of a one-liner with a constructor. And now the second question, a getter is different. Who wants to try to explain the difference? All right, what's the difference between a getter and a setter? Yes, getter is read only. That's a good way to put it. See if anybody else has a good explanation. Setter sets a value, getter returns. That's pretty good too. A getter gets the value, a setter sets the value. Yeah, that's pretty good. So let's try to use a getter here. We can make a getter called public string get color return color. So now for our spruce, we can say system.out.println spruce.get color. And what are we expecting? Expecting green, right? So we run this, and the first thing we see is green. So that's how the getter works. Okay, that should clear things up. All right, these are really excellent questions. So let's also remind you of one other thing. This is probably the most work we've had yet, because we have the homework, the test, and the code review. So one thing I want to say about the code review isn't just copying questions from the test or the homework, it's actually finding 2 new problems on Code Wars. So I don't think we're going to get to HackerRank today just because we had so many good questions, but we can always revisit it another day, right? There's only so much you can do in an hour and 40 minutes, right? 1 hour and 40 minutes goes quickly when you are problem solving, because it takes time to think through these different things. So you really do have a lot of work this week. Were we stuck on one? I forget. Oh, yeah. I think that one was busted. I think that one was broken. Yeah, you will find those. So, I mean, like the surface area and the volume, I think we're on the right approach. But I think when you see 5 issues and you see negative values like that, that was a fail for the site. So the site is not perfect. No, for that I don't think so. I mean, the only way we could get credit for it is find out what the bug is, and then just give them what what they want for the bug. But I mean, it's like it's not. That's not good. If you see a problem that has 5 issues, it's best to just skip it. So yeah, that's a good point. Like I agree. Like if you're working on something, it's good to try to figure it out. Kind of like the problem I was working on. I think once I get this problem working, maybe I can show you the Python code. Python is so easy. You can probably, it's like pseudocode. I really feel like that. So you can look at that and maybe like figure out a Java solution from it. But it's more about the logic of the problem that I'm just doing something very inefficient. It is very English. It is. Okay, great. This is excellent. So just to review, we've got the Freer School code review. So we go here and we look at code review. So we see we've got week 5, and it's due on October 4th. So you have 6 days, 4 hours. And then you also have this test. See if anybody finished it. No, good, okay. Because I had a student over C++, and he would finish tests within, gosh, like 10, 15 minutes, right? So it would always make me feel like what I'm giving is way, way too easy, but he was just so good. I'd have to remind myself, no, he's just so good. Like, you couldn't believe how fast he would work during C++. Or no, actually, that wasn't C++. That was during my Java class. That was during Java over the summer. So yeah, I'm thinking, I don't know if there was anybody in my C++ class who could do that over this. I don't think so. Anyways, so it will take you some time to solve this test, right? Some people will do it quicker than others, but you should set aside some time during the week to work on it. So I do have the, oh yeah, thank you. Yes, I was going to show you that. Let's do that. That'll be a great way to end the class. So let's do that. So we go here to Replit, and we say new REPL, and we can call this test on Memer. And we just go back here to our test, and we say that we want to download the starter code. So we just click on download starter code. And then you can just show it in the folder. Go ahead and unzip it. You could probably just move the whole zip folder to Replit, but we'll just do it like this. And then you look at our test1 starter code and see there's one file called doodad.java. So you just drag over doodad.java and drop it. And now you do all your coding in here. So you say int num string s structure public doodad int num string s this.num equals num this.s equals s, right? Then you do your getters, then you do your setters, you do your constructor. You do everything in the instructions, right? And then once you're done with that, you can test it here. You say java c doodad. And everything I just did there was legal. So if we run it, we'll see nothing, but it is legal. So to download this from Replit, all you have to do is just click on the three dots and say download as zip. So it downloads as test on Memer. Then we go back here to Memer and we say submit. And then we upload the latest folder. You see how I downloaded it? It's called Test on Memer. So you double click on Test on Memer. You say submit. And I'm guessing I'm going to get a 0 because I didn't do anything. So I look here and I see mine does nothing, but I'm supposed to read in, enter number 1, enter number 2, enter word 1, enter word 2. So there you go. So you see how easy it is? You just do your coding on Replit, and then you just click on the three dots. So to answer, upload the starter code, then solve problem, then click on three dots in Replit, upload that zip file to Memer. Does that make sense? I mean, in the end, what you have to remember is code is text. So you can just copy and paste things. So that's the main thing. Good. Okay, so let's do some screenshots here. Then I'll get to know the people who are in class, and then we'll be done. Let's see, some folks typing had offline settings, so it's important to show online during class. You just have to be in the voice chat. That's how I do the daily chat. Oh, okay, a null pointer exception. All right, that's a great question. So, check a null pointer exception. So, question is, what if you have a null pointer exception? Well, let's see. So we're going to have a string array s equals new string 10, and then we can say here s at 0 equals hi, s at 1 equals hello. And now we're going to loop through for int I equals 0 while I is less than s dot length, I plus plus. And now we'll just print them out. Print line s at I. Okay, so if we run this, we can see, oops, I ran the wrong one. Java C doodad.java. Okay, and that's strange. Oh, I did Java. Oops. Java C doodad.java. And then we say Java doodad. Okay, you see null. If we try to access something on a null, watch what happens. Okay. It says, I gotta make this public, hold on. Let me make S public. Public, public, public. Now it should work. Java C doodad.java. Ah, I thought it was here. Class public string S. What is the problem here? Why can't it see that S? Public void get public string get S. Return S. Okay, let's try this. Oh, because it's a string. I'm thinking it's a doodad. Ah, stupid. Okay, so let's try this. We're going to get length. Okay. Ah, gosh. See, I see the time clicking, so I'm getting nervous. Doodad.java. Java doodad. Okay, here, this is what I wanted to show you. An exception. Okay, look. All right. Okay, so I never actually test with more than 100 inputs, but for this, I'd like you to work with an array. I'd like you to work with an array. I mean, obviously, array lists and arrays can be transferred back and forth. So I really wouldn't be upset if you worked with an array list and transformed it to an array. Like, that's good practice, in a way. That's good practice. I never try to restrict people to like certain things, but at some point have an array. At some point have an array in the code. That's just what I ask. Just at some point have a doodad, Java doodad, d whatever, like this, doodad, my doodads equals new. And you could make it from the array list, right? It could be populated from the array list. But okay, so let me show you how to fix this, because now we're getting towards the end. I hear people's keys jingling. So you just have to say if si not equal to null, then go ahead and do something, right? If it is null, you don't want to do it. So this is checking for null. And then it's going to run main. So I got to go Java C doodad.java, Java doodad. Okay, you see that works. This is how you can check for null. You just have to use if null. Okay? That's how to check for a null value. And null values can come up. No. You add the items in. So there are different ways you can do this. Like, you can solve this without checking for null by, you can keep a counter of how many items have been added, right? And then you only loop through those to show them. That's another approach. So one nice thing, at the beginning, what was our first assignment in here on Memer? Do you guys remember? Yeah, exactly. You had to write strings, okay? So there's no checking if anyone copied that assignment because they're all identical. They are all identical, right? It would be a crazy person who says, everybody print out these 3 lines, and then all the students print out 3 lines, and they say, aha, you all copied, right? That's stupid because, of course, everybody is going to have the same 3 lines. But for this, there are different approaches, right? One person checks for null, another person does another thing. You're going to have different ways of solving it. So let's see, each doodad has 2 strings and 2 ints. So when we console them out, is there a space or no space? So if you look at this picture here in the test, you're actually not doing a 2-string. You're just printing the first number. You see the first number that was entered was 100. And then the first word that was entered was hi, so it's number, space, word. Number, space, word. That make sense? Number, space, word. Okay, so if you do have to use new. You have to use new to make an object. So if you want to use the setters, you can use setters. That's fine. You can just make an empty constructor. So you say doodad d equals new doodad. It's the new sets aside the memory. Then on that object, you can use the setters. But if you don't use the setters, then there's no memory. I mean, if you don't use the new, there's no memory set aside. Does that follow? So, like, if you just have, oh gosh, now we're really over 4 minutes. So, oh no, it's not a big deal. I mean, it's not like, I don't even see anybody else coming in, so we might be the last class. So it's not a huge deal. But yeah. So let's see. We can revisit this on Wednesday. We will be meeting on Wednesday.